So again, I come back to
but that's not waste, fraud, and abuse.
Prosecute the fraud.
That's not waste, fraud, and abuse.
Just finish one point here.
Go ahead.
Well, a lot of it is waste, fraud, and abuse. I think about 10% of that is waste, fraud, and abuse. If you look at the Daily Wire's reporting,
I can tell you what 2 out of 3 of it.
Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Chris Cuomo recently interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy on News Nation. Ramaswamy, who is running for Ohio governor, discussed claims of waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare and Medicaid. Let's look at some clips from their conversation, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Healthcare. It's become a boogeyman in too many families, cost structures, and they're nightmares in this country, okay? It is a top priority for all of us. It's getting no attention. None. It's completely distracted from. Congress isn't touching it. The president had talked a big game about bringing in the healthcare bigs. I thought it was a great idea. It never happened. But on the state level, you're seeing a lot of things happen. And there is an interesting push on the right that the key to change is waste, fraud, and abuse. I am very suspicious of that. Not that there's waste, fraud, and abuse. Of course there is. But that it's of an amount that is actually determinative of the outcome of the program, especially when it comes to something like Medicaid. Now, in the Ohio race for governor, healthcare is going to matter. They have big problems in that state, okay? Vivek Ramaswamy, you remember him from DOJ, right, and helping with the Trump administration. He says he thinks that the answer to Medicaid is exactly what I'm discounting, which is waste, fraud, and abuse. If you take care of that, it's going to be billions in savings, and it's going to save the program. It's going to give money back to Washington. It's going to be great. In the Wall Street Journal op-ed, Vivek argues that states should be allowed to keep more of the money they recover from Medicaid fraud, giving governors and state agencies a real financial incentive to aggressively investigate and then prosecute abuse, and then reinvest those savings back into healthcare. So let's discuss how this would work. Joining me now is gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good to see you, Chris. How you doing?
All right, good. I know we have some comms issues. Let me know, Vivek, if they're a problem. Let's just start with the optics on this. They throw a quote around. I don't know the proper context, so I'll ask you. They quote you as saying that you believe Medicaid and Medicare were mistakes. Do you believe that?
I reject the premise of the question, Chris. Those are talking points that came from an hour-and-a-half long podcast I did with Ezra Klein. As you and I know, we have these long-form conversations that go into depth, and I think we need more politicians who step outside of their scripted talking points. For anybody who's interested in my views on this, listen to that hour and a half of my conversation with Ezra Klein. It was actually good. I lean right, he leans left. We had a great conversation. But here's what I do believe, and I know, Chris, is that Medicaid waste, fraud, and abuse is real. And I'm not saying it's the only step to bringing down healthcare expenses, but I am saying it is